Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See detail.
When it comes to towing, seeing is believing. That's why Chevy Truck's advanced camera technology offers up to 8 available cameras for 14 unique views, so you can focus on the view that really matters. Chevrolet, together let's drive. Learn more about Chevy Trucks at Chevy.com. Safety or driver assistance features are no substitute for the driver's responsibility to operate the vehicle in a safe manner. Read the Vehicle Owner's Manual for important feature limitations and information.
Oh, wow, we got him wide open, 40 yards down the field, and he dropped it. Well, you repped it twice in teams, and you just didn't give that kid a chance to work those skills. So I think having great repetition and mastery in the fundamentals of whatever it is you're doing, you're planning on doing on Fridays or Saturdays, I think that's so critical.
On today's episode of the season, we are joined by Joe Matheson, the innovative offensive coordinator at the University of Wisconsin River Falls, renowned for his Top Gun offense. Joe introduces us to his latest creation, the six-back offense, inspired by Michael Lombardi's insights, which strategically utilizes all eligibles in the offense as ball carriers, insert blockers, or RPO attachments. The key to this concept is making subtle adjustments to existing plays while involving various players in different roles to outsmart the defense without completely reinventing your offensive strategies. Implementing the six-back offense necessitates thorough player training and cross-training to seamlessly integrate the modified plays into practice routines and game plans. And by gradually introducing these innovative plays during practices and aligning them with specific game scenarios, you can successfully execute them during the crucial moments to a competitive edge and achieve success with your offense. I'm excited about this one with Coach Matheson. Be sure to stay tuned for our Winning Edge takeaways following the episode.
At BlueNile.com, you can find endless ways to make your moments sparkle. From classic and timeless jewelry gifts to creating the custom engagement ring of her dreams, all at prices you won't find at a traditional jeweler. And right now, you can save up to 40% on fine jewelry and 25% on engagement ring settings during the Blue Nile Anniversary Sale, going on now. Go to BlueNile.com to shop the Blue Nile Anniversary Sale and save up to 40%. That's BlueNile.com.
On today's episode of our season series, we're joined by Joe Matheson, who is the offensive coordinator at the University of Wisconsin River Falls. He has his Top Gun offense, as he's coined it, and he's joined us on the podcast before, so we're excited to have him back today and talk about an idea which he calls his six-back offense, something that you can use to start to develop some tools that make it difficult for the defense to defend, but are easy for you. So, Joe, great to have you back here again.
Oh, excited to be on, Keith. Thanks so much. As you know, I try to steal as many ideas as I can from you and your podcast. So honored to be back on.
Well, I'm blessed to have guys who come on here and share things like you do. So thank you to all of our coaches, but would love to dig into this idea. I know before we got going, we talked about where this originated, and Michael Lombardi, who's been a guest before on the podcast, kind of coined that phrase, but something you've taken and run with.
Yeah, so six-back offense, listening to Michael Lombardi, it's something we started to implement because we're a tempo team. We play as fast as anyone in the country. And at times, 11 personnel, RPO spread offense, I mean, it's getting defended really well. Defenses have adjusted. Their alignments are on point to take away the RPO and shuffle back in on the run game and add numbers where they want to. And Michael Lombardi talked about the trend of going back to old single wing offense, where these six-back offenses are truly using that quarterback as an eligible, as a threat in the run game, and using everyone on the field to make the defense defend all the skill players you've got out there. And it can be a small tweak you can add in to all your base concepts, and it can really make life challenging for the defense.
I definitely want to dig into that because, as you said, you don't want to, especially as we hit the midseason, be reinventing the wheel. You want something that just fits in naturally. So from a terminology standpoint, a structural standpoint, what does this look like for you guys?
Yeah, and I think that's the important thing. So we always say your install, it's like launching a rocket, right? You can change the trajectory a tiny bit, but ultimately it's got to be a simple tweak that just adds to what you're doing. And for me, that means changing nothing up front. So we're an 11 personnel team. We love to run pin and pull, for an example. So we can tag something. And as an 11 personnel team, if we're going to add the quarterback in as a run threat to be truly 6 back, we're going to add a tag, and our running back can now either be part of the RPO from the backfield. The running back can be part of a backside cutoff. The running back can lead that run concept for you, whatever you think. So what you're doing is you're trying to take a look at how the team's going to fit the run against you, against your base runs. And then I call the running back the fixer. It's like, let's take that tailback and he can be the fixer. Maybe they're spiking that safety down to add a hat. Well, let's lead them up. Maybe you're getting backside chase on whatever concept it may be. Well, let's go ahead and send them backside for the cutoff. Maybe 1 back power is not enough for you anymore. Well, J-course that tailback, let's make it 2 back power. So we try to add that tailback in one way or the other. And suddenly the defense is seeing a surface that they game planned against for your base RPOs. And they're a hat short because you brought that tailback into the mix and added that gap in different ways. And I think a simple tag, whatever your run concept may be, is all you need to do.
When you're looking at how you utilize these players, right? You're going to get more of these players involved now as the season goes on, looking for guys who have those added skill sets, and maybe it's packaged where they're in, as a receiver, as that back. I mean, I always thought of personnel groups on what kind of skill sets do we want to match? How do we want to get certain guys in the game? As an example, when we would hit the red zone, that speedy, shorter receiver I might have on the outside who could beat people over the top, his speed is a little bit more minimized if we're going vertical into the end zone. That I want that guy maybe who doesn't have as much speed, but is going to get up in the air and get a 50-50 ball. So I guess, how do you think of this in a personnel standpoint as, again, you're getting into bigger games, you want something to break tendency, et cetera?
Yeah, I love the way you put it, because that's kind of the fun of all this stuff, that as you just add in a couple tags or tweaks, is you can leverage whatever your strengths are. I would tell you, for us in particular, because we're a tempo team, we're an 11 personnel. So we invest quite a bit from the start in cross-training our players. So our tight ends know how to catch RPOs. Our backs are very multiple and are going to be physical. That's what we ask of them. So we're going to put our guys in situations that they've been trained at. But let's say you're a multiple personnel team. Now you can kind of pick out the strengths of your guys and leverage them based on those packages. So that's kind of the fun you can have with it. Why it's such a good evergreen idea is, hey, it's going to fit no matter what you're running. You could be a 12 personnel team, a 22 personnel team, and you're still adding that extra gap or adding a different element. Even if your quarterback's not a tremendous runner, I think doing some of these things, you're going to face a 4th and 1 in a critical moment. You're going to face a critical whatever that third down call is. Maybe it's in the red zone. Adding that gap is going to be important, and you're going to want to have some of these at your disposal as the games get bigger and you get into conference schedules.
Now, is there anything in looking at this where it becomes wildcat for you? I mean, maybe if you don't have that runner, that, you bring that dynamic slot receiver in the backfield on a certain play and just put your quarterback out there, out on the edge. They still got to defend him, right?
Absolutely. And having the ability to, and it's funny you bring that up, even if your quarterback's not a tremendous runner, just getting in tight end attached empty sets where you can create silos for the defense to defend. So if you have a kid who's maybe not a tremendous runner, but you could still maybe run draw with him, and now you're creating matchups in some exotic formations, because there are a lot of times if you keep that tight end attached or a wing attached and you get in a stack empty formation or go FIV, you're going to create really defined matchups now. And you can take advantage of those. And that's, like I said, we call it creating silos, and we're going to put our best on their worst, and we're going to attack down the field out of it as well. So just like anything, you want to have a balanced attack when you're adding in these principles. And I think that's one way we do it. Like you're saying, it's kind of that old single wing look, whether it's wildcat or your quarterback back there. I think that's hard for defenses to defend.
So you call it the 6-back offense. We talked about a little bit about using the running back, using the quarterback in different ways. How do these other guys get involved in that?
Yeah, well, I think that's where, going back into it, being able to attack the run fit with your base RPOs as well, to keep everyone involved. And that's one thing we really worked at trying to get better at. Is one thing is we weren't throwing to our tight end enough. So we built in really simple RPOs, bluff RPOs, getting our tight end into the flat that we can build off of, just continue that versatility. And I think, okay, now if we can put our tight end in the flat instead of just running a bubble, and we've got our tailback maybe replacing the tight end in the run game, well, suddenly we've added a concept or a layer to just inside zone. Our 5 kids up front, they're just running inside zone. We've added another layer that the defense has to defend. It's a whole nother key for the defense. So you can kind of tweak what you're doing. So even if you're not adding numbers, like in that case, you're not necessarily adding numbers in the run game, but you're creating more versatility or another layer in your RPO game to keep kids involved and make sure the defense is defending those guys.
Looking at this from a practice perspective, you said your guys are cross-trained in certain ways, doing that from the beginning. But as you start to settle into some of these packages, what's your approach to individual with these guys? Do they work it in individual? Are you working it in a pre-practice? And where do they make sure that they're just in tune with some of the things they need to do that maybe aren't part of their normal progression of a skill set?
Yeah, we started doing this last fall, and we've done it throughout the spring. Just like anyone, we're trying to be as efficient as possible with our practice time and find new ways to keep our kids interested. So, hey, we're the Top Gun offense. We call it our danger zone circuit. So we create stations. We got a station with our quarterbacks. I've got a station. And then our running backs coach has a station. And we rotate guys. So I get hands-on with our tailbacks, our tight ends, and our receivers. And I'm going to work perimeter blocking at my station. Quarterback station, we're going to work RPOs. Running back station, we're going to work ball security and different things of that nature, or whatever the flavor of the week may be. Perhaps it's an RPO concept. So that's how we've done it. Shoot, you can do that in 7 minutes. You get 2.5 minutes with each kid and get them rotated around. It's great because I get to see kids within our offensive unit. Maybe I don't get to coach on a one-on-one basis a ton. And I think guys have had fun with it, and we play the music up on the speakers and get after it a little bit. And it's our way of creating that versatility or that tool set. Now, again, that might not be a fit for everyone. It's important to us because we hardly get out of 11 personnel, but just having an idea like that fits your offensive identity, I think, helps build that skill set or that tool set within each kid that you're going to have out there.
Yeah, I love it. I think I had a similar approach, I guess, with trick plays, and I would just call it our circus circuit. And it was all the different components that you might put into a trick play. Like we would work, and again, just in really short segment, work a guy catching the ball and pitching it to somebody else, work a double handoff, even getting some of the big guys like to get involved in this. And you've seen them before where there's a tackle screen or the tackle peels off, a lateral pass comes to him and he's throwing it down the field. Not that everybody could do that, but it's funny what kind of skills you can find within your kids. I mean, we had a tight end who I think we threw that. We didn't mention like doing it with the tackle. We did it with the tight end where we sprinted the one way and he peeled back and we had a little bit of blocking for him through a lateral pass and he threw it down the field for a touchdown, right? So just looking at, okay, if these are the skills we may use at some point in the season. For you, we're talking about your danger zone period. It could be trick plays too. I've always felt like those components need to be worked more than the actual scheme themselves.
I think that's really well put because we've all seen the trick play example is a great one. We've all seen, oh, wow, we got him wide open 40 yards down the field and he dropped it. Well, you repped it twice in team and you just didn't give that kid a chance to work those skills. So I think having great repetition and mastery in the fundamentals of whatever it is you're doing, you're planning on doing on Fridays or Saturdays, I think that's so critical.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you could think about all those plays that you have situationally and just making sure that you don't have to run the full rep, but getting practice at those little things. You go to end of game plays, right? Thinking about maybe you're running like a middle hook and that other guy's coming across. Like, how much do you actually get to work that? Who does it? Who's the best at it? So when we get in that situation, they're working it. So I love that idea. I mean, working those skills a little bit in isolation gives you more of those repetitions probably than you can get into your team periods.
No question about it. And the other nice thing for us, and whenever you're doing this too with six-back offense, whether it's the tight end attached empty sets, whether it's your back, J coursing, leading, whatever it may be, these concepts are truly the same. So for 95% of the kids on the field, they're doing what they would do anyways. We're just adding that extra layer to attack the defense and how they're fitting the run. So we're just trying to take the pen in our hand and attack what the defense has done in the game plan, because they're going to have, as a tempo team, they're going to have a plan for every one of our formations. How do we get the pen back in our hands and attack them schematically?
Thinking of your team periods and your scripts during the week, how are you layering these in? Is it in a separate period? Are you just inserting them into the normal team script? Because as you mentioned, I mean, reps are limited in team, right? We have a very finite number of what we have available to get rep to the course of the week. And, I think it's a good point you made that for everybody else, maybe then one guy, one or two guys, it's the same. So it still fits in. But what's the approach to scripting that in your team periods and getting these things, some of the reps over the course of the week?
Yeah, I believe in fully integrating it into the team periods and getting in a flow and having a good balance of what we anticipate we're going to call on Saturdays and having that involved in the script and making sure that correlates. Now, it starts with the game plan. If you believe you have a physical advantage up front, it may be a week where you're in less of these types of concepts or sets. So naturally, it'll be practiced less. Now, that being said, with our install, we think our defense is pretty darn good here. So we're able to get into these sets in week 2 of fall camp. So I follow the old Noel Mazzoni 3-day install. Days 4, 5, 6, we're implementing these sorts of concepts throughout the practice plan. And then, like I said, each game plan, we're just going to, hey, if we think we're going to be in these 40% of the time, we're going to have it in 40% of the script.
So then the last thing is you as the play caller getting these kinds of things into your thought process and flow of the game. What's your approach to, I guess, making sure they get called, right? I think the worst thing we have is we get to the end of a game and we look at the overage we have on that call sheet and the reps we gave it during the week, and it's not even close to maximizing the time we have. So how are you sure that you're getting it into your thought process and that these things are getting called when they need to get called?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I'm glad you bring that up because I think it's worth mentioning. We're a tempo offense. It's going to be messy. You don't have to watch long to see me make a mistake as a play caller, right? Add a gap the wrong way or whatever it may be. I think the challenge of doing this is you're not going to have a lot of great film to prepare you. So you really need to understand and have either it's yourself or you have great eyes in the box. You can see where that run fit's coming from. So you're adding the gap in the right place and doing it properly. The other thing is, hey, we're in these exotic sets. We're in nub, trips, empty, stack. Well, I don't have any clips of that on film. So you need to be able to take a look at a defense and, like I said, our best on their worst. Are they a gap short? Where is that extra fitter? So you really, as a play caller, you need to be able to figure this out on the fly and understand the game plan that the defense may have. Now, some of them are going to be better in any scenario against any look than others. For example, I mean, inside zone lead with your quarterback, that's pretty darn good against just about anything you're going to get. So it just depends how far you want to go down that rabbit hole. But I think that's one of the challenges as a play caller is when you're up in the box, you're not going to have a good game plan based off what they've done against sets you've never seen. You know, who's run some of these stacked sets out of empty? Maybe nobody. So you've got to be able to call it on the fly and understand where to attack.
Definitely. Well, there's a ton here in a short segment, and really appreciate you taking time and sharing these ideas with us during our season episodes here. And certainly best of luck to you and the Falcons the rest of the way.
Much appreciated, Keith. Like I said, I'm an avid listener. Happy to be on.
Here are winning edge takeaways and ideas for implementation. 1. Utilize the six-back offense. Coach Matheson discusses incorporating a six-back approach where the quarterback becomes a significant run threat, similar to the old single-wing offenses. This approach involves using all the skill players on the field to challenge the defense, creating an extra gap and making the defense account for every player on the field. This can be implemented without changing much in your existing offensive structure, allowing you for ease and integration into your base concepts. 2. Cross-train your players. Emphasize cross-training players to enhance versatility and make the offense more dynamic. Coach Matheson mentions training tight ends to catch RPOs and ensuring running backs are physical and multifaceted. This approach allows you to leverage your players' strengths in various packages and situations, ensuring that even if a primary player is unavailable, others can step in and perform effectively. And 3, implement versatile practice circuits. Adopt practice circuits like the danger zone circuit where different stations focus on specific skills. For example, quarterbacks can work on RPOs, running backs can work on ball security, receivers on perimeter blocking, and then everybody can rotate through working on those different skills. This method not only keeps practice engaging, but also ensures players develop a broad skill set that you can utilize throughout the season. It allows you to interact with different position groups as well and address specific needs, helping to create a well-rounded and adaptable offense. If you are enjoying the podcast, please go to your favorite app and rate and review. It helps other coaches find the podcast and helps our game. Be sure to check out our sponsors. They're listed in the show notes and in the 10% Toolkit. These are companies that we believe in, and they also provide some great benefits to you as the listener. So check those out in the 10% Toolkit. The list is in the show notes. Be sure to check out our new episode each week, the Coach and Coordinator National Coach of the Week, presented by Modern Football Technology. That'll be out every single Wednesday, and we'll be highlighting some of the great high school coaches from around the country. Follow all we're doing at coachandcoordinator.com and follow us on X at Coach K. Grabowski.